Okay, so we all know that when parents get involved in their kids' education, it's a good thing. But what if I told you there was a proven roadmap to actually turn parents into amazing English teachers for their own children? Well, today we're diving into this really fascinating study that did just that. They designed a guide, they tested it, and the results, honestly, they're pretty incredible.
So, let's get right to the big question, the one that so many parents ask themselves. It's not just about checking homework, right? It's about how can you truly make a difference and effectively help your little ones learn English. It's a huge challenge, and a recent study out of the UAE set out to find a real, concrete answer.
All right, let's jump in. So these researchers wanted to understand what the partnership between parents and schools actually looked like on the ground. They started by asking, what's it really like for parents who are trying to support their kids' English learning journey, especially in kindergarten? And they didn't just ask a few people. To get the real picture, they started big. We're talking about a survey of 329 parents of kindergartners to figure out what was really going on at home and what roadblocks were getting in their way.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Right off the bat, a huge majority of parents, we're talking nearly 78%, already believe that when they get involved, their kids do better in school. They get that it's important, the desire is there. So the problem isn't that parents don't care. Not at all. The real question is, what's stopping them from turning that belief into action?
And that, right there, brings us to the heart of the problem. If parents are eager to help, why is it so hard sometimes? Good intentions are great, but they aren't always enough. So the study really dug in to find the specific barriers that stand in the way.
So, what did the researchers uncover? Well, it turns out the roadblocks were coming from two different places. Some from within the school system itself, and some from common beliefs that parents held.
First up, the systemic stuff. A huge chunk of parents, 63% of them, pointed to one big thing. Teachers are just too busy. And you can see why, right? It's really tough to build a solid partnership when teachers are totally overloaded and stretched so thin.
Then you have the other side of the coin, what parents themselves thought. Almost 60% basically said, hey, teaching English, that's what kindergarten is for. And while that mindset is totally understandable, it can kind of put up a wall, making parents a little less likely to jump in and take an active teaching role at home.
So let's just quickly recap the big hurdles they found. On the school's end, you've got teachers with jam-packed schedules who often aren't even trained on how to best team up with parents. And then for parents, there's this idea that it's the school's job, plus, real life. Work commitments, busy schedules, all of that.
Okay, so once they had a really clear picture of the problems, the researchers got to the really cool part, trying to fix it. They didn't just write a report. They went and built a practical, hands-on solution designed to tear down these barriers and empower parents.
So what was this solution? It was a full-on 8-week online training program. And the goal wasn't just to throw a bunch of information at parents. No, it was about building real skills and boosting their confidence, turning them from sideline cheerleaders into active players on the education field.
And we're not talking about boring textbook stuff here. This guide was packed with practical, real-world strategies. Things like how to figure out your kid's unique learning style, getting the hang of phonics and pronunciation, and how to use stuff you already have at home, like songs, stories, and games to make learning English actually fun.
But here's the million-dollar question, right? A great idea is one thing, but did it actually work? Was it effective? Well, to find out for sure, the researchers put it to the test.
And the setup was super smart and simple. They got a group of 60 moms and gave them a pre-test to see where their English teaching skills were at from the start. That's the baseline. Then those moms went through the whole 8-week program. And after it was all done, they took the very same test again. A simple, powerful before and after.
All right, get ready for these results because they are really striking. Let's start with listening skills. Before the training, the parents' average score was just about 3.3. After going through the guide, that score shot up to nearly 7. That's more than double. A massive, massive improvement.
But wait, it gets even more dramatic. Just look at the speaking skills. They started at 3.35, and after the program, their scores just skyrocketed to 8.67. I mean, wow, that was the single biggest leap of all, which just goes to show how effective this guide was at building real confidence and tools for parents.
And the winning streak continues with reading. Here, the average score jumped from about 3.4 all the way up to almost 7.5. Once again, the training more than doubled their skill level. which proves that even something as complex as teaching reading can be effectively taught to parents.
And finally, we have writing. Now, this was already their strongest area to begin with, but even here, the guide made a huge impact, boosting their score from 3.75 to almost 7.8. So the takeaway is crystal clear. Across the board, in every single skill area, the improvement was undeniable.
So what's the final verdict here? Well, in the academic world, they'd call this a large effect size. But for you and me, that just means one thing. This thing worked. Big time. The training guide successfully transformed parents into far more capable and confident teachers for their own kids.
This is so much more than just an interesting experiment. It's practically a blueprint. So what does this all mean for the rest of us? What are the real, actionable lessons for schools and parents who want to create that kind of truly effective partnership?
Well, the study's recommendations are really clear. For schools, the key is to be proactive. Organize workshops, give parents the tools they need, and train teachers on how to collaborate. And for parents, the message is to engage. Show up for the training, use the resources, and participate. It's a two-way street, you know? It takes two to tango.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought. Based on everything we've just seen, what's the one single thing your child's school could do, or maybe that you as a parent could ask for, to start building this kind of powerful partnership? It's definitely something to think about.